Hello, I'm Dr. Danita, your host for Baggage Claim, Unpack Your Bags with Dr. Danita. We're back for season 2. It's season 2 already. And you know that I often say that on this carousel of life, picking up baggage is sometimes really unavoidable. But unpacking those bags becomes a choice. So I'm coming on live every single week, and I'm going to offer those educational tips and emotional health tips, but just remember that they are in no way a replacement for professional counseling. If you're finding that those bags that you're carrying are way too heavy for you to carry, definitely reach out for help. You can find me on my Facebook page at Dr. Danita Thompson. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to catch those replays. All right, so I'm ready to join you live. Remember to hit like and share. You want everyone to know that I'm going on. Like and share, and let's get started. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you again for joining Baggage Claim, Unpack Your Bags with Dr. Danita. We are in our final episode. This is episode 8 of season 2, and I'm going to tell you, you are in for an amazing episode tonight. It's going to be really good. So go ahead and start to like and share with everybody. Just share with everybody on your list, because everybody's going to be able to benefit from this topic and also just get engaged. So if you are coming in, go ahead and let us know if you're a fan. If you've been watching, you qualify as a fan. And if this is your first night, let us know where you are viewing from. I have an amazing panel on tonight. That's right, yeah, go ahead, start liking and sharing and give us the thumbs up and the hearts. I am going to monitor. You need to really get engaged tonight. I want a lot of comments, and I know that you're going to just blow up this feed. So, before I introduce the panel, I'm just going to say that tonight's episode is called Dealbreakers. So, you know, when you're about to get engaged in any type of intimate relationship, you kind of like maybe have some preferences, you know, things you like, things you don't like, things that you prefer, you know, that the person would have. And then maybe there's some red flags like, I better pay attention to that. That might be a warning for me. So let me just, you know, like put that in my back pocket for a little bit, but keep my eye on it. But then there's the deal breaker, right? It doesn't matter how good they look. It doesn't matter how they make you feel. There's that one thing that says, pump the brakes, stop sign, deal breaker, right? And so tonight we're going to talk about those non-negotiables on baggage claim as it relates to intimate relationships. And so my goal was to get a diverse age group on the panel tonight. And so somebody said it might turn out to be 2 against 4, but that's okay. I got somebody in my corner, right? So we have 2 seasoned, we'll call us seasoned guests, and then we have our young adult guests, and we're in varied places and spaces as it relates to committed relationship, non-committed, how long. And so we're just going to go ahead and get started with some introductions and let us know who you are, whether you're in a committed relationship, and how long it's been.
Starting with me?
Yeah.
Hey, my name is Karan. I am 31 years of age, and I am in a newly committed relationship.
Woo-hoo.
All right. So yeah. All right. Oh, you got mine.
So I am, okay, I'm Gianna. I am on age 26. And I have been in a relationship for 4 going on 5 years. Committed.
Since they started at 8.
Right.
What's up, everybody? My name is Alvin Smith. I'm 60 years old. Just turned 60. but I'm proud of it. And this is my second marriage. First marriage, I was married for 13 years. My second marriage, I've been married for 27 years. 27 years with 11 grandchildren. So, and it's committed.
Hi everyone, my name is Jael. I'm 25 years old and I'm engaged and we've been together for 4 years, going on 5.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's going on? My name is Daniel. I'm 25 years old and I am single. So I guess that's my perspective.
And I'm, of course, Dr. Danita, and on Saturday, I will be married 39 years. 39 years. And I'm committed. One man, y'all, 39 years. So, when we're talking about deal breakers, I was looking, I do my research and, hear what people have to say and what are the professionals saying. When I tell you, there had to be, every page that I Googled had a different list of at least 20, 30 different deal breakers. And those deal breakers went from being in domestic situations, domestic violence situations, having different values, someone who's consistently dismissive of you, someone who changed their mind about having children, someone who fights dirty, name-calling, gaslighting, failing to listen. I mean, the list just went on and on and on. They're not over their ex. They have no vision, they have no plans, no goals, lack of ambition, history of drug abuse, alcohol abuse, gambling, all kinds of addictions, beating on women. Then there's the prejudices, there's religion. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. So let's talk about what you think about deal breakers. Let's start. What do you consider a deal breaker?
Number one deal breaker?
Your number one deal breaker.
I don't know. You got a number one deal breaker? Well, I'd have to start with, I would say for me, a number one deal breaker would be if you completely do not believe in God at all. Or like you just don't even believe that there is an existence of God. Then we wouldn't have any basis to start on or continue or therefore last. So that's an easy one, I guess, when I think about it. And then it gets tricky from there, so I'm going to let somebody else go. No, I took that one.
You took an easy one. That is true. But for me, like, getting too comfortable, complacency, that is a deal breaker for me. I cannot, for the life of me, stand someone who, in the beginning, it's all peaches and cream, and then as the years go by, they start to get comfortable, they start to forget, their goals, the vision, and time is of essence, so we're just wasting time and you just don't have it together. So that's a deal breaker for me, being too comfortable.
Make sure you can hear everyone. If you can't hear, just let us know which person needs to talk louder.
So first of all, can I go back? Can I go back to what he said?
Yeah.
Because the Bible says, "How can two walk together unless they agree?" So I agree. That is part of. That was my number one thing. And when I got married the second time, that was one of the things that me and my wife we had talked about, that we could not go back. We could not forget how we got here. Because most relationships, you tend to get comfortable and you forget how you started dating and now you don't date anymore.
Yeah.
And you don't want to communicate anymore. So I agree with those two things. Those are my pet peeves.
Yes, well, to build off of what you were saying, I knew I was doing first. But it's not only just to, make sure that they believe in God, but just to make sure that they have a true relationship with God. Because I found that a lot of people, know about God. They know His name, He exists, but they don't serve Him. They don't work for a relationship with Him. They're comfortable being a lukewarm Christian, and I need someone who's going to pick me up when I'm down. So it's important to me, on top of God, having a relationship and actively working on that relationship for the both of us.
Yeah, that's so good, Diana. I like what you said. I think that's definitely number one. And then I would say for me as well, a deal breaker is if they don't have a sensitivity to the cultural normatives that I come from. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm a black man. My parents are from Jamaica.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I grew up in church, so you have to have a sensitivity to those types of backgrounds. Because when you're with me, you're going to encounter those cultural normatives with my family and my community. And if you're going to mess with them, it's going to be an issue from the jump. You know what I'm saying? So that for me is good.
Yeah, so these deal breakers, they run the gamut from being, some people would say that petty, to really, really serious. So, what do you consider really, really serious? So, people say if they have bad body odor, or if they don't keep, house clean, or they have extended family issues. So, it just continues to go on and on. They are boring. They're rude. They lack intelligence. They don't have a good job. They making money, but it's not like flowing. So how do you determine what's petty and what's not?
I think that there's a once you get past your definite deal breakers, there's probably going to be gives and takes. Not probably, there's 100% going to be gives, takes, and compromises. And then there's going to be some things that you probably just can't deal with that some people would think are petty that other people wouldn't. For me, this is going to sound really funny, but it's me. And it's very petty. But it's going to sound crazy, I'm going to say it. When I see a woman spit in public, I'm like, it's over. I would never talk to you in my life. It's done. And then you're like, what? She gotta spit just like you gotta spit. I don't care. I'm not doing it.
That is such a double standard.
I don't really spit but like that. I might, but I don't care. That's double standard. Call it. I don't care. Whatever. I don't care. Go find a napkin or something. Double standard, be all you want. I don't care. I can't do it. And that's a petty one for me. I can get to a more serious one that people disagree on all the time. Y'all ready to open it up? I think today's generation, the angle on submission in relationships is a hot topic. And if you come out of the gate talking about I'm never going to submit I don't still feel the need to submit to a man, we probably won't even get past stage one. And that's, I'll let anybody else elaborate on what submission means or what you feel like submission means. But my definition, as far as it pertains to me, if you can't get with the definition of submission or the idea of it, then we probably won't make it past the circle. We won't make it. So just period, point blank. I'll let this one to the right way. Okay, go.
But let me raise a thought. But do you think that every person understands what submission is?
No, especially not today. And I guess maybe we could break into what it means for me at least. For me, submission as it pertains to a woman, I just want to be able to be in the front of my household as far as a form of protection. As far as means as anything that comes to this storefront, I will be a shield for my woman, and therefore what comes under that is most decisions are not most decisions. I would say all decisions are made through me, but that doesn't mean that inside of our household the woman is not making decisions. You're making plenty of decisions, but if you were to make a decision and it goes wrong outside of our household, it's on me. And then we discuss, where we went wrong and how we went wrong. But I still have to heed to what you do well as you heed into what I do well. But as far as the front of the world, not only front, I mean like when we put on our door front for the world, it's on me if we make a wrong decision or something goes left of it. But that's what submission looks like, and most people don't even view it like that. It's really submission is no easy place for a man. You know what I'm saying? When you really think about the definition. But I will say as men, we got to take a lot of the blame today for our generation because there doesn't look like a lot to submit to out there. No one's going to submit to a man just all willy nilly and not. You know what I'm saying? Has no plan, has nothing, doesn't even guard his woman's emotions or things of that nature, learning how to be into his woman. They're not going to submit to you. You don't even know anything about her. And you're not doing what your due diligence to learn about a woman. So submission has just gotten all distorted as far as the generations go.
But that was the reason why I asked you that. But now, to raise it to the young ladies, what do y'all think about
Okay, so I've come from a household where I've seen my mother submit, so it's not natural for me to do so. However, I was also raised where, I'm a daddy's girl. So, like you're saying, like, I kind of made it very clear in my relationships, like, I don't need you, but, like, I need you. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't need you. Like, I don't need your money. I don't need you to buy me things to make me happy. I just need your time, your affection to make me happy. Right. And I think having that mindset kind of put me in relationships was just like, you know what, a hard head makes a soft tail. Because, like, yes, my judgment in the past, Lord, thank you.
Amongst guys,
yes, of men, and it's not like, I had an absent father. He was very, he stayed on me. This is the type of guy that I should date. This is the type of guys I shouldn't date. However, us females, we want to go against the grain. We're going to test the waters before we figure it out. So, I mean, now it's easy for me to submit with my partner because we both have an understanding. Like, we have a understanding that we're both able to be the cookers. We're both able to be the cleaners. We're both able to make money. You don't make more money than me. I don't make more money than you. It's together. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for me to submit. However, I want to say, like, going back to, like, a serious deal breaker for me, I don't really have petty deal breakers. I'm petty, but I don't have petty ones. I am. I'm not even going to lie.
Right.
But I want to say, like, a serious deal breaker for me.
That's petty. That's considered petty.
It's not really considered petty, but it's serious. Like, I just feel like, the way men in our generation were raised, like, you're not supposed to be sensitive. So, like, I like a man who is sensitive, who's able to regulate his emotions. Right. And if you cannot do that, if I can't come to you and tell you something I dislike without you yelling, cursing me out, calling me every name, we're not going to be able to work. Because I love a man, I'm sorry, but I love a man who can, if you want to sit and cry, we can cry together. You can cry on my shoulder. I'll wipe your tears. I'm that type of female. But if you coming in, breaking windows, punching, no, sir. We won't work. We won't. So I don't know if that's petty. Like, I love a sensitive man. Yeah, like, it's cute. That's cute.
Well, you ended up with Q. You messed it up when you ended with Q.
I'm sorry. It's cute though.
It's not cute.
Sorry. It's not cute, but it's cute.
It really is appealing. Most men don't think it's appealing,
Right.
but it is appealing to a woman for you to be able to get in touch with your emotions as well as hers. But I was listening to you. We raised you good. Yeah. That's some good stuff.
Because I get some heavy arguments on one side. Use the word submission. Boy, that's
I
mean, it's like it's a hot word today. Like, and women are not with it.
No.
But mine is.
Oh.
We talked about it.
That's a shit.
For hours.
That was cute.
Not in a bad way. Just
Yeah.
for hours talking about today's generation. Like, those are conversations that you don't even have. You can't talk for hours about those subjects that I question where you at.
Absolutely.
I think women don't really understand that it's more of a relief
Right.
not to have to shoulder, the burden. Yeah, it's a relief.
Mm-hmm.
If we actually look at it from the definition that it really is, when a man really steps up and takes his role, it's a relief.
I was gonna piggyback off of the both of you and say that so I grew up with a mom who submitted to my father as well. My grandma, it's just in my family. That's how I grew up. I'm Haitian. So we grew up in the church to serve your man.
Right.
As long as he's your husband, though.
Right.
And I have no problem with that. I find it like another way of showing love. He takes care of the bills and everything, and you take care of him. I definitely understand that. But just to focus on the fact that I want to be able to submit to a man that's worth submitting to, like you said. It's a relief to find a man that takes his role and steps up when, we're having a weight on our shoulders and our hands. We want to do everything, be the best wife, be the best mom, be the best friend, like everything, but it feels good to have someone who can take the lead and say, like, I got you. And it's just like, I got you. So I see both sides, and I definitely, I agree with you. Nowadays, it's definitely different. A lot of women don't see, like, if you're not making millions, and I'm not submitting to you, or if you're not this, but it takes a lot of reflection on yourself and a reflection of the type of man that you want and that you can see yourself submitting to.
Yeah.
So that leads me to another question.
I told you.
So in today's society, there's a shift that's going on.
Yeah, I know exactly what's going
Right? And we find that there's a lot more women that are independent.
Right.
So this question is directed to you. With independence, with women, and that's making more money in your dating, do you find it difficult to take that lead role in a relationship? And if so, would you be able to balance in a godly way that is still conducive in your relationship?
Yeah, I love that. I would say I take my cue from my parents again. So my father, it's full disclosure, he knows this. My father, he makes about 50% of my mom made at her height.
Right.
So she has multiple degrees. My father graduated from high school. So all my life I've watched this balance, this dance. But yet and still, my father is the head of the house.
Absolutely.
My father is the head of the house. He knows it. My mother knows it. My sister and I, we knew it growing up. And so I watched this dance. I watched her submit even still. And I realized that his manhood was never defined by the amount of money that he made.
That's good.
It was never defined by that. It was always defined by who he was in and of himself. Now, I am a man. And so he still was insistent on protection. He was still insistent on provision. He was still insistent on education. He was still the leader in terms of spiritually making sure that we're having those devotions and those times with us. So he still assumed that role. And I think in large part he was able to do that because he did have a wife that was submitted to him. And she didn't toss around how much she made in his face, like I'm da-da-da-da-da. I'm still that. She's like, you know what, this is for us. We're going to do what we're going to do. This is what I'm bringing. But she was still able to do that. So, I think that as an example, I feel like the men can do that.
Okay, good answer.
Yeah, let me ask this question because Jill, you mentioned something about the woman making money or no, the man providing. Yes. So the conversations that I have with young adults today, they say that most guys, it's a deal breaker if their woman is not bringing in 50% and making money. They're not keeping nobody home. That's what I hear.
I heard that too.
I think that's where the guys' times have changed. Like you said, women's changed from submission. Guys have changed from trying to take care of their women and provide.
Y'all haven't heard that?
I have.
Oh.
I heard that. And again, that's where the balance is at. I think, like, men have lost their roles as being providers, even if it's being an emotional provider, and a provider of stability, just being a man in the household in general. You know what I'm saying? There's a load that you can take off your woman regardless of whether she makes more money than you or not. But that's aside from the fact, because we still do need to figure out how, like, our generation, women are stepping it up and making more money than men. Period, point blank. That's just how it is. No matter which way you want to put it in there, how you want to, there's systemic oppression. There's all those things. But regardless, women are figuring it out how to make more money than they have in the past. Now, for the woman that can't date a man that makes less money than them, I think that perspective has come from all the men talking about bringing 50-50. I don't know who came first with the argument, but there's a lot of guys out there talking about bringing 50-50, but don't want to date a woman who is butting heads with them at every call and every turn. Well, you can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't really have both. Even if she is or capable of bringing 50-50, she has to know that she can lean on you in times of need, and it's not a necessary requirement of her to bring in 50-50. And you asking her to submit to everything that you do, but she better not lose any money that she's coming to the table with. Like, that's a twisted perspective. Like, she's got to know that tomorrow, if something was to go wrong, you gonna be the one to go grind it out. You know what I'm saying? What kind of man are you to look at your woman like, yeah, you got to figure this out? Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? You're asking her to submit to you at the same time. And a lot of men don't know that they're asking a woman to submit without asking them to submit with their attitude and with the way that they want them to act. Yet you're saying, but you got to be bringing 50-50 to the table. You're not gonna run me for my money. Like, that's just twisted.
So there's a comment. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's a comment that women should be go-getters too, though.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that that's what we're saying. I think it's more of the heart posture, because in this society, it's very difficult for there not to be two incomes in the home. But it's the heart posture, like, you better, like, don't come, that's the part, that makes it like.
It's not the takeovers.
Right.
So how do we feel about prenups entering into that?
That was another one that was on the list.
Into that equation? Because if they're bringing a certain amount, they want to sign that agreement. Like, what's mine is mine.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
Go ahead, Corona.
You sound like you have something. You put it together.
Because I personally don't believe in prenups. I just feel like when you sign a prenup, you're just waiting for something to happen for you to, all right, well, this was mine, I made this, I bought that, and I just feel like, well, where was the love? Like, where was when we committed for better or for worse, and when we was in this bliss, when we was saying our vows, and now that it didn't work, you trying to take the dog, the house, the cat, the hamster, like, come on, we built this together. I personally don't believe in prenups. Like, we're a team, and there's no I in teams, and prenups, I don't believe in prenups, so no, I don't like it.
I have to 100% agree. Not that I'm a man of large money yet. I plan on being one. You know what I'm saying? We have plans in place. But at the same time, for me, I just feel like you haven't built enough foundation. You don't believe in the foundation of your relationship if you feel like you want to sign a prenup, because, like, you're basically saying that you're marrying someone that might take you for everything if it doesn't work. And that's crazy to me. I wouldn't put that perspective on the person that I want to be with for the rest of my life, that I'm entering this saying, like, just in case we don't work. Even that is a fallacy in itself. But even to say, just in case we don't work, I think you might try to take me for everything, so let's just sign this prenup so I can leave with everything I got. If that was to happen, then that was the plan that God had designed for me, or something in there changed that you would have turned into this person. But I can't predict that from day one, and I'm not going to sign a prenup just to say that you might turn into a whole different person than the person I know now, so much so that you're going to take me for my money. Yeah. I wouldn't do it.
Deal breaker.
Somebody asked me for a deal breaker. We should have bought a button.
Deal or no deal?
Right. We should have, yeah. So the question was, is it a deal breaker if a woman wants to be a stay-home mom? Whew.
It's definitely not a deal breaker.
What about a preference?
No, I think it's definitely not a deal breaker. If I'm in this where I'm able to do that, and I will be, that's great. That's great. If she has that option, that's great. Now, if it's a situation where she doesn't have any other choice but to do that, then maybe that's a whole different situation. Like, hopefully there's some type of skill and ability and job and degree where you're able to do whatever, right? Obviously. But, you know, if that's her preference and we can do that and it works for the family, that's great. That's great. But not a deal breaker.
So, I'm gonna get a little personal. So, I have a 4-month-old baby, and right now, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm loving it, but my partner knows this is not going to be permanent unless you tomorrow hit the lottery and you say, listen, I gotta, you know, not saying he's not gonna. I have faith that my man is going to make it, but right now, you can't make it working a 9 to 5, and I got too much going on for myself. I got my own personal goals where it just won't allow me to be a stay-at-home mom moving forward. So I have my own time stamp where as soon as she hits 6 months, I'm back in the job, I'm working. It was beautiful watching her grow now, but this is not what God put in my life to be a stay-at-home mom. Nothing wrong with it. Trust me, I love
It's
not
honorable.
Yeah, and I love not going to a job, but it's not for me.
As I stated, go ahead.
You go ahead.
As I stated, in my first marriage, my first wife, she was a stay-at-home mom, and I hustled and grind, and it was, I worked 80 hours a week most of the time. It was like, yo, I was just getting it, and sometimes I got a part-time job. I did what I had to do, even though things were a little bit cheaper then. It was like, you know, my mortgage was only $400 a month. You know, I was 23 years old.
Let me get 3 of them. Let me up $3 right now.
You know, so, you know, but it depends on you, and that was the way I was raised, though.
Right.
I was raised to grind, so, you know, for me, I just knew how to hustle. So I knew how to go out there and get it. You know, I could sell body oils, I could do anything. It is like, yo, I'm bringing some money home, one way or the other.
Let me ask you this question real quick. So what if, hypothetically, not the roles are reversed, but your man does have it and he doesn't want you to go back to work, but you desire to?
By all means, baby, we stay at home.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because I don't hear, that's another.
You said you got goals.
Right, that's what
I got goals. I could be a stay-at-home mom, working remotely.
But now you're going to put your goals aside.
Oh, no.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying.
No, okay, all right.
That's
If he
that's
had
a
the
rubber meets the
means,
road type incident.
so just like a little quick description. My boyfriend is very business oriented, so he would make me, excuse me. I would be a stay-at-home mom, but I know that he will have me he will have me doing something with business, like helping him with his businesses, or even helping me start up a business if I wanted to. But like, yeah, I have goals, and I would
So
never.
You would stay home.
I would stay home. It's lovely.
Just for clarification.
So there's a comment here, we gotta circle back to the man's perspective about the 50-50 and the woman wanting their woman to work. I think this is in reference to that. So the question is, do we think racial trauma has played a role in the shift in the man's perspective?
Do you think? It's a tough question. Do I think race? I think that some women are well aware and some aren't aware enough of how much systematic oppression there is in America against black men. And it's not an excuse, but it does exist. And the argument for black women will be, well, there's plenty of systematic oppression against black women. I get it. I know. I'm just saying it started against black men. That's a fact. And in other ways, against women. It's just two different oppressions, but it was the oppression of finances against men by throwing them in jail and all the other things that they did to stop us from making money. And I don't think we take into account the recovery process that is. Now, I don't have the answers for why, well, I do. I mean, there are a lot of black women that are able to go to college versus a lot of black men that are just in jail. Those are just the numbers. So to answer the question, do I think that what not internalized racism, but racial trauma? I don't know if it's so much racial trauma versus still recovering from. I mean, you could just blame it on the crack era if you wanted to. The crack era ruined plenty of black women, but it's got lots of men in jail. I mean, countless black men in jail that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a recovery process that I still feel like black men are going through, which leads us to a small percentage of being in the upper echelons of annual income per year.
Yeah. And depending on the person, people, places, and things.
Right.
Where you live matters.
Right. I personally have no excuse. I'm just talking about for people in general. I have no excuse. I got to get to the money. You know what I'm saying? Because I have every opportunity to. So we making it work. But for us in general.
But in general, you know, racial trauma is one of the things. It's a big topic because sometimes we use it as an excuse.
Right.
And sometimes it does matter. You know, it's psychological when you walk through that door and you're getting denied.
Right.
You know, and your girl goes through that same door and she's getting that job. So now you're feeling depleted. You know, the book I'm reading now, John Eckhart, he's talking about the lion that's been captured and put in the cage where he used to roam the jungle and he had a roar. And now he lost his roar.
Right.
Where's the black man's roar?
I think to tap onto that, Quran, I think the result, like even like things like the crack era, is that a lot of, especially women in our community, they are raising their single mothers in their home, right? And that's been like an epidemic. You know, speaking of pandemic,
which creates the independent woman.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. And so I think that has created, you know, some rifts even in our culture. So, you know, I'm going to shift a little bit, but even when you're talking about interracial relationships and what those things bring, you know, those are things that if you're married outside of dating, engaged, married outside of your culture, they have to be very, very sensitive to these types of things that we understand through our culture, where they may have to do some extra outside education, have some extra sensitivity to the realities of our homes.
Right.
I think also it just has a lot to do with social media and everything that is acquired, and I want this and I want that, and men not thinking that they can acquire that on their own, so we need more money.
Right.
Yeah, right? So, have you ever crossed the line with your own deal breaker? Like people say, this is a deal breaker. Here's where the line is drawn in the sand. And then the next thing you know, the line ain't there. And they done crossed over. And it's no longer a deal breaker.
So, you remember when I said a hard head makes a soft tail? Okay? I was the one walking with the tail, between my legs. Because, yes, absolutely. And if any of y'all up here say no, y'all know y'all lying. Because I can speak for myself. When my parents told me so and so and so and so and so and so were not good for you, I don't care what y'all say. I know it's not, and I went back. And I had to learn. I always think, like, everything is a lesson. You learn from all your trials and tribulations. You learn from every obstacle. Some, not all, but some. I know I did. And I learned that what I tolerated in those past relationships, I knew that I was not going to tolerate in the next relationship, and I knew what to look for and what not to look for. So I think those past experiences definitely shaped me for my new experiences. And it's not like, yes, I've crossed the line plenty of times. The sand should have swept me and I should have went in the ocean somewhere. But guess what? I'm here to tell my story. So yes, I definitely
The sand should have swept me.
The sand should have took me. Took me out there.
Yeah, and I would say, as someone who's single, one of the temptations to compromise deal breakers is impatience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just not believing that I can get to the place where I know I'm trying to give.
Right.
Not believing that what I desire is really out there. Is not, or just not wanting to wait the time to get to to whoever that is. Right. So just impatience is something that will easily tempt me to risk it all. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
And I can tell you, that impatience can get you shipwrecked. For sure.
Yes. There's a deal breaker that I did cross the line, but I love it now.
All right, tell us about it.
Tell us about that.
Because, like I said, because now I'm in the second marriage, and it came with baggage.
On both ends.
Yeah, both ends. And it was like we had to learn to adjust, to get to know each other's kids.
So the deal breaker was, I ain't getting involved with nobody with kids.
There you go. I get it then.
But I love it. Yeah.
Right. That's cool.
But you were willing to go through that adjustment period, and you can admit it wasn't easy, but you were willing to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the gives and takes and the compromises.
There's a lot of compromises, a lot of gives and takes.
So you can compromise on a deal breaker. So a deal breaker is not really a deal breaker. You can compromise on a deal breaker.
Let's ask the single guy. Let's ask the single guy about the kids one though.
For me personally, I am not going to engage in a relationship where there's kids already involved. For me personally, because for me, the dealing with another man and that other situation, there's feelings tied up, there's emotions tied up, there's money tied up, and there's people have grace for that. It's not evil, it's not bad, but for me, that's just a situation I'll say I don't want to enter into.
And deal breakers are personal. What's a deal breaker for one is not necessarily a deal breaker for another, right? So it's personal. There's a question here. Can you develop deal breakers during the relationship?
Absolutely.
I was literally about to start talking about that because I was going to say, I haven't crossed the line with deal breakers. It's more so that I became aware that this is a deal breaker.
Right.
And I had to decide, okay, whether or not are you going to continue on with this deal breaker, or you're going to let this go? And young me, I'm like, I don't want to let this go. It seems so perfect and everything. But I knew it was like, I have to let it go because I can't continue on.
If you don't mind saying.
No, I don't mind saying it at all. It was a lot, actually. I was always someone who kind of knew what they wanted, and when I was dating at 16, I felt like I was just way more mature than he was, and
You probably were.
yeah. And he didn't see a problem with flirting with different girls on social media. He would disguise it as a conversation, and whenever I would try to talk to him about my feelings, this hurt, he would just shut down and just not even engage with me. So it's I'm wrong, or he doesn't understand and stuff. And I found myself battling with him, listen to me, understand me, don't do this. And I'm just wait, why am I doing all this? The right person is going to do the right thing without me having to keep breaking down, shoveling into this person, So that became a deal breaker for me. I knew that I couldn't be with someone who didn't see the point of expressing their feelings, understanding my feelings, or trying to change to be a better man for me. And I was 16.
I was going to say, there was no biological clock ticking. You had time. Now let's ask someone who is 30, 35, and are you going to negotiate it? Okay, I'm finding out that this could be a deal breaker, but I'm 35. Can I just say, I'll deal with it? Won't make it a breaker. I'll just deal. Yeah, this is a little different, right?
At least you realized it early.
Yeah.
Yes.
What she
Yeah.
want.
The one thing that we find working with married couples is they find out later and well, when you work for me, when I'm working with premarital couples, that's the hardest because they are so in love. You can't tell them anything. And you can see the handwriting on the wall, under the chair, on the floor, on the door, over the doorpost. You could just see the handwriting everywhere. You're like, no, don't do this. But they're so in love. Like, I read in a book, the author was saying that, I'm sure he was joking, or maybe he wasn't, but he was saying he was counseling this couple, premarital couple, and in pre-marriage, and the girl was so in love. She's like, oh, he's so honest with me. He's the first man that has been honest with me, and he told me that he murdered somebody when he was 15. But he was so honest. So I'm sure he was stretching it, but that's the way it goes in pre-marriage. Like, you're so in la land that you skipped over the fact that he murdered somebody, but he's honest.
I love that he's honest. He could be a killer, but those sound hilarious.
Which you find so many
But you
inmates
find stuff like that.
get married.
Yeah, you find it and make people go into the jail cell and marry people too, right? Yeah, because they're so in love.
So, go ahead, Daniel.
I was going to ask, you're engaged, you're married, what types of things in the engagement process, once that kind of initial commitment is there, would you say after the engagement, this is a deal breaker? I feel like in dating it could be a little different. You kind of feel each other out with preferences. But once you made that engagement, what kind of things would you say I'm pulling it off?
That's gonna be a good deal breaker.
My engagement, we negotiated, and then we was renegotiating, and we really talked about what it is, what we wanted. My wife was never married before, but I was. But she was in relationships before, and she's been hurt. So for her, being a single mom, living with a mom, independent, because that's another factor, being independent. And so for her, she knew exactly what she wanted, as y'all was stating. And so we just really talked about what it is that we wanted, how we wanted, when we wanted it, and so forth.
Yeah, premarital counseling is essential. I think it's easier to walk away if cheating is involved than if you already have a family and married some years. It's easier to say, I don't have to work through this if I'm not married yet, right? So I can walk away from it.
Right.
Yeah. What else would you walk away from if you were close to, once you get that ring, you looking at that ring like, oh God, I can't get this ring back. There's a lot of people that can't get the ring back. They start telling themselves all kinds of stories as to what can, they'll change, or it'll be, no, we could do this.
But consider,
especially once you,
I have an imaginary ring on, so I really can't. So you want to take
That might be your plan.
I can't really say much without no bling.
Well, I would say, like you said, it takes a lot of conversation, and being completely transparent about what you want and what you won't stand for. And I realized, everything is good. We've been good. We don't have crazy arguments. We've been 4 years straight, on and off, So I felt good about us and good about marrying him. But I realized when we got engaged, that's when the problems started to arise, and not petty problems. It's serious stuff, because for me, it's I'm gonna be spending the rest of my life with you. I need to be sure that you can reach my standards, even though we've been together for 4 years. It's just a different step in when you get engaged, and I think it's just me personally. I don't know. But it's a lot more serious and a lot more eye-opening on determining whether this person can truly stay with you for the rest of your life and actively fight and work through things and get better, get to a better place, versus them just, continuously brushing things under the rug. Because that's what people, I feel like to do too. They get in that honeymoon phase and so in love and so perfect. We're gonna get married, have babies, and like happy ever after. Like, it doesn't stop there. That's just the beginning. Not even the beginning. It's just the pre-getting. So I think a lot of conversations and a lot of being honest about what you want first, realizing what you want first and what affects you and what you could do better and what your partner could do better is definitely important in realizing and then bringing it to your partner and then working through that. Is all I
I've had at least 4 couples that have come and they went through the premarital counseling prior to being engaged. That it helps. It helps because once you get that ring on your finger, it's really difficult. You done had the whole proposal and then it went through all of that, and everybody showed up and there's a video and
It's viral.
And they talk about, I work just like you work.
Yeah.
So I was always told that, so when you were saying you have your own standards, but I was always told, obviously communication is key in any relationship you're in, whether it's intimate, friend, whatever. But I was always told to say what you mean what you said, but don't say it mean. And I think that stuck with me.
That's good. I'm gonna use that.
It stays here because mean what you say. Say what you mean, but don't say it mean, because it's so easy to, when you get mad at your partner or at anyone, it's so easy to you forget
they
that
can't hear it.
Exactly, because you already even said it. And so I just feel like if you communicate, that could kind of, in the beginning, because I feel like if you communicate in the beginning of your relationship, beginning of anything, even in the honeymoon stage, people crazy. But I mean, deal breakers. You communicate and you say, you get a clear understanding. I feel like it will make the relationship a lot easier. I can honestly say that for myself. We were dating since my senior year of college, and obviously we went through obstacles. But now that we have a child together, we definitely understand our relationship much better. And I've taken that quote with me because, like I said, when I get mad, I can say things that I don't mean, and that could be a deal breaker for him. Mm-hmm. But I have to learn that, communicate it. Don't just shut down. Don't just lash out. Work.
Somebody needs to type that in. Say what you mean.
Say what you mean.
Mean what you say.
Mean what you say,
but don't say it mean. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Oh. Both me when y'all preach.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would say that's why I would say that a lack of being able to articulate your emotions or your feelings would be a deal breaker for me. And me and my mom was kind of not going at it, but we were not seeing eye to eye a little bit but just throughout me dating different women here and there, or anybody that I would say, like, I'm thinking about talking to this one. I really wouldn't. I'm a personal person. But, as of the past couple of years, I've shared things with my mom. You know what I'm saying? As far as the dating scene goes, because I really wasn't dating anyway, because the dating scene is trash. I'm gonna just put it out there like that. It just is. So I really wasn't getting too much into it with anybody, because they cut themselves off so quickly before. You know what I'm saying? There's a deal breaker before we even get to the table of deal breakers. So it's it's not even worth it. But we were having a conversation. She was like, you work on your emotions on a regular basis, so you might have to pull back your standard of what you expect a girl to, of the level that you expect a girl to be able to communicate, if she's never actually worked on that. Doesn't mean that she can't get there, or that she's not a great person for you, and she just hasn't worked on it yet. And I'm like,
wait.
No, okay.
Hello.
How old were you when I said that?
I was like 28.
I don't know if you were 28, 29, but I also added to that when we're talking about development and people are still growing and developing, it's different if you starting out at 31, 30, you would expect somebody to have already worked on that. But if you are still growing and developing and you're talking about somebody that's 2 or 3 years younger than you, then, there's a little catching up. But the expectation is that they would work on it.
Right.
I was just like, don't be shutting down every single relationship.
but I was, because it was so toxic. Like, not toxic, it's just like, the level of communication out there is not, like, being in control of your emotions is the new cool. And you know what I'm saying? And you don't, I personally out there wasn't finding it a lot. So yeah, maybe it was 2-3 years ago, and it could have been 2-3 years ago a girl that's 2 years younger than me. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I wasn't willing to deal with it. But luckily, you know, I found somebody who's looking to who's gonna in school to be a therapist. You know what I'm saying? So we can, yeah, we communicate on, like, I mean, like, our if there's anything we have, like, our communication level is on a high frequency. You know what I'm saying? And like, so we've had knockdown, drag out arguments. And I only got to this point because I was saying, because you said don't say it mean, and she knows that, like, when I get to my point, I can say some things mean, and I gotta, like, pull back. I gotta go back and pull back on it and apologize, and, you know, work on it for the next time or whatever. But we have communicated about it. There's things that she does that she knows are a pet peeve of mine that I won't put on camera. But we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And we work through it. And it's the communication. You know what I'm saying? It's the leveling back. So I would say somebody that's not working on themselves or not even willing to go to therapy would probably be a deal breaker for me, because, like, I just don't know how we would work through some of the arguments that we have or some of the situations that we're in if we both weren't working on ourselves emotionally, know where our triggers are at, know where our limits are at, know how to come back to a table with clear heads. And even at 30, 31, 29, there's a lot of people that don't know how to do that. 25, 26, 27, like, period, point blank.
So I'm struggling here because we're at 8:30.
I know.
I don't want to stop. Keep going.
This is so good. We haven't talked about, like, if somebody has mental health challenges, physical challenges, somebody is, you know, I mean, we haven't, there's, like, a lot of places to go with this that we haven't gotten to. This is supposed to be the last episode. So yeah, but yeah, like, emotional, because I need to know, because, you know, I'm a therapist.
Right.
Emotional health issues, you know, like, is there, okay, anxiety, there's depression, but then there's bipolar, there's schizophrenia. It goes, yeah. A lot of people, anxiety is a standard, almost everybody has some level of anxiety, yeah. But yeah,
Is that like a deal breaker, are you asking?
that's what I'm asking.
I'm sorry. Certain mental issues, I can't. Those are deal breakers for me, because I've had a conversation with my friend, and she said that, you know, her boyfriend's father struggles from bipolar disorder, and I'm like, okay, so do you see yourself, like, dealing with that? And she says, yeah, you know, my mom has bipolar depression, so, like, I'm used to it. I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking in my head, like, am I selfish for thinking, like, I don't think I could deal with that because I just want to, I don't want to see
The father?
No, she's saying that this girl said that she would be okay with it because she's dealt with it with her mother. So now she's saying, like, am I being selfish for saying I wouldn't do that? I wouldn't deal with it.
I want to pose a question.
Use your mic.
So my question is this. You're in the relationship now, and say your fiance, he later on develops a mental issue. How would you deal?
Ask that.
See, that's
Yeah.
how would you deal with that then?
Well, as my husband, you know, I'm gonna stick beside him.
That's what I mean. Stick beside him.
Yeah, she said.
You're talking about if you had the option prior to.
If I had the option prior to, I would deeply consider it, because I'm thinking about my children as well. That's not something I would want to pass on to them. And, you know, a lot of these cases are different. You know, they can turn violent, they can turn, some just fall into really, really deep depression. I'm lonely, I'm feeling unsatisfied, you know, so I would have to really consider it, like, do I love them enough to continue on? But as my husband, I would have to.
Yeah.
I love what you said, because this is a deal breaker that it has to deal with grace.
Right.
Because again, this is something that in the marriage could develop, and at that point, there ain't no it's a deal breaker.
Right.
We're here, so with grace, right? But I would say for me, they have to get out ahead of it. So whatever it is, if you know what it is, has it been diagnosed? How do you treat it? How can I help you in this process? How do I love you?
Right.
I have to know how to love you. If it's just undiagnosed, you off the wheel, and you don't know how to handle it, you don't know what's going on, you don't know how I can help you do
Turn
it.
it to King Kong.
This is a lot. This is a lot. You know what I mean? This is a lot now. But if you know what it is,
Right.
you can identify it. You know, you take him at whatever you have to do to treat it.
Right.
I can be a part of that, or I can choose to be a part of it at that point. But otherwise, this is just gonna rock off the handle, and that's a lot.
Well, we've gotten lots of suggestions. Come back next week, make this a part 2. But what we have talked about is season 3. Is going to start in September, and season 3 we said that we knew that this was going to be one of those topics, and you could take one deal breaker and go for an entire, because we haven't talked about cultural differences, we haven't talked, and that's big. So there's several that still need to be fleshed out, and we wouldn't have time to do that tonight. So look forward to season 3, and we can bring the panel back. I mean, we're going to have lots of different people come on and share, but this has been really good, really, really good. And so we're going to carry some of these topics over to season 3. And so definitely, if you go to the YouTube channel, Dr. Danita Thompson, you will get the notifications when there's an upload, just in case you forget, or also like my page on Facebook so that you can get the notifications when the seasons start. But they're going to begin the beginning of September, and we're going to pick this back up because this is important. You know, it's not just, oh, this is a fun show. This is really important. There are people that are struggling out there trying to figure out, should I do this, should I not? And it's a deal breaker. And we'll bring the buzzer next. We'll bring the buzzer, for season 3. But before we end, just one tip, anything that you can offer someone as it relates to navigating a deal breaker, because you may be already in the relationship and then it's like it shows up. What do I do?
And I offer 2.
Okay.
1, like I said before, communicate. Please communicate. I don't think I need to go any further than just communicate. And 2, make sure you're good within yourself.
Yeah, that's
You're good within yourself, that you're not taking old baggage, old issues into the new relationships, so forth. So communicate, that's 1, and make sure you're right. That's basically it.
And we keep throwing communication around, but communication is a skill. So it's not always that easy to just do. And so if you find that you are not communicating well, you keep butting heads, adults should be able to speak their truth, should be able to say what they need, should be able to do that without, turning their backs on each other and not speaking for a week. So if you're not able to communicate, that's a skill that has to be developed. You need to go to counseling. Yeah.
Do a deep inventory of yourself. Check yourself. Know what it is that you like. Know what it is that you can put up with. If it's something that you can't put up with, you know you're not going to be able to deal with it. So you have to know thyself, so you can show thyself approved for somebody else. Be true to yourself.
Walk with grace and walk with humility. Walk with humility. Because even if a deal breaker is true to you and the relationship can't continue, you are going to be the launching pad for the next one.
That's
good. That's good.
And so you don't want to be the reason why they're carrying a new baggage into a new relationship. Love them well by communicating with grace, and be humble knowing that these things could be true of you, or these deal breakers can manifest in your marriage, and then you have to deal. So just love people well, because that what you communicate is going to be the launching pad for their next. Okay. For their next.
Such great ones. I would definitely say checking yourself. Definitely. Being able to check yourself before someone else can check you is something that is important. Loving yourself, definitely. I feel like I grew up to realize that I feel like I'm successful in my relationship because I love myself first. And I put myself on a pedestal to find the one that I knew could be for me. So loving yourself definitely is like the first step. And also just being honest with yourself and being honest with your partner. Lots of times we like to, especially women, we like to lie to ourselves about, no, like it's okay, this isn't affecting me. I don't care if he takes me out or buys me flowers. Like, be honest with yourself. That way, when you realize how it affects you, you can communicate with your partner exactly what you need, exactly like how they can love you better or make things better. So that way you're not settling. So,
That's a good
Big
word.
one.
That's a
Big
good
one.
word.
That's
I'll let you go in a second, but you were saying know what you want, and I say age really does matter because you really don't know what you want until you have matured enough. And I'll be the first person to say, getting married at 18, I had no idea what I wanted, and so things that were okay at 18 were then not okay at 27. I want it now. And so then it's like, but you didn't want it when we got married, but I want it now because I'm grown up. I'm a big girl now, So age does really matter. Maturity matters, I should say. Maturity matters. Yeah.
I would say, the earlier it is, the earlier you can chuck the deuces. Okay? So look, if you see you need to get up out that door, get up out that door. But this is what I'm going to tell you. This is how you do that, right? Ask questions early and often, okay? Don't be waiting because they're cute and you don't want to hear the bad part. Just ask it early and often. Get into the deep questions. The minute you see after date number 2, I get into it in date number 1. You know what I'm saying? Not deep, but we're gonna have a deep. If you like to talk, you like to talk. So on date number 1, we're gonna have a conversation. Date number 2, a little bit more deep conversation. By date number 3, we just flowing in convo. That already tells me you're my type of person anyway. And then secondly, we're going to get into it, and somewhere in there, you either going to keep passing these tests for each other, or you're not. You forget about that door, or you continue. But you got to ask early, because you don't want to be 6 months in, and you forgot to ask something that you would like to know month 1. You know what I'm saying? Now you're going to waste some time.
Can I add one more thing? That was good, okay? Sorry. Do not ignore red flags.
Right. Don't ignore the red flags.
Because if by date number 4 you say you jokingly say, yeah, I killed somebody. That's my cue. That's my cue. I'm out. God bless you. I pray for you.
I got one time for the whole story. I need to get the whole story.
Exactly. So don't
come back to you with this.
But I challenge.
Right. Yeah, you change, but not for me.
And if you don't think you need counseling, you probably need counseling.
Period.
Counseling has never hurt it doesn't hurt. You can go even if you don't think you need it, just go. Because you'll be surprised what Pandora's boxes can be opened that you didn't even know have been closed and pushed under your bed someplace. And so it's really important. What?
And don't be scared.
And don't be afraid. Yeah. Don't be afraid to allow the box to be open. There's certain things that if you experience trauma in childhood, if you experience any kind of physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, I can promise you should go to counseling before you get into a relationship. Those things are significant. They will impact your ability to do relationship well. And with that said, we have to end. We are so over our time. But again, join us for season 3. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 8, Dealbreakers. and we look forward to seeing you again. We're going to take our little break, but don't forget to pay attention. In September, we'll be back, and start telling your friends so that they can get on and engage in these conversations as well. Thank you so much, and it's not too late to share. If you haven't shared, go ahead and share. I know some people want to wait and see what it's like and before they tell anybody. So now that you know that this was an excellent episode, go ahead and share with your friends. Thank you so much. Have a great night.